I'm Patrick Bailey with whiteboardcoder.com. Today is October 1st, 2016, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to install and use a Netgear AC750 Wi-Fi range extender. Okay, what is a range extender? Why might you need one? Why do I need one? Well, basically, let me show you a couple quick grabs I made. So sometimes you might be in your house, and this is kind of the situation I have, where you got your router set up, you got your Wi-Fi, and then you've got the range. And so the range is not necessarily hitting all your house, or maybe it's not hitting your patio or whatnot. So you kind of have most of your house covered, or in truth, the coverage kind of starts to wane off. You know, the further away you get, the lower you get, the lower quality, and sometimes it gets so low it starts messing up. But you have a range. What if you want to extend that range? Well, you might be able to buy a new Wi-Fi router that's better and bigger, and or what you might do is you can get a Wi-Fi extender. And so with that in mind, this is kind of what happens. Now you put an extender which is in range of the first router. And so this router actually connects to the first one. And then now this router serves a different area. So if I connect to this router over here, I hit this extender, but then my communication is actually still, it's going from my computer to this extender, and the extender is talking to the original router. So I'm still going to the same path. But it may give you more range. So that's kind of what most people would use it for. And you can actually have multiple ones you can bounce around. It's not giving you more bandwidth in total because you're still all funneling through the one router. But you might have a big enough house that you put one on one side and one on the other, and now you can actually service your back porch and your front, or you might have a situation where you have thick walls or some kind of electronics going on, interference going on that's not helping. With my own situation, I think I have two things going on. One, since we moved recently, my router is no longer in my room. It's actually way downstairs. And so I think I have a distance issue, like most people might have, who are typically, the issue you typically have if you want to get extender. You have a distance issue, or walls, or electronic interference. So I think I have that. But in addition to that, I think the oddball thing I have is the Wi-Fi on this laptop I'm using right now, that I'm actually recording on right now. I think it has a weird issue where it does not like my router. For whatever reason, I fought it before, and I never quite won the battle. What I did before is I just plugged it into the Ethernet, which I kind of wanted to do anyway, because I get much faster speeds in my local network, because I have a server and I'm doing backups and things, and so for me that works. But now I can't do that. The router's too far away, and I can't connect it up here, so I can only connect to it through Wi-Fi. And since my Wi-Fi on this box does not like that Wi-Fi for some reason, and I can't figure out why, I have issues. Every single other computer in my house, not a problem. Printers, not a problem. Mac computers, not a problem. Other Windows computers, not a problem on the Wi-Fi. It's just this particular one doesn't like it for whatever reason. And I fought the battle, haven't won. So I think my problem is twofold. One, I think I just plain don't have a problem with my Wi-Fi talking to this. And also I'm further away. So I think I have both the problems added together. So, I think this solution works. Well, it is working. I got it working. So now I bought this AC750, Netgear AC750, which is a pretty good price on Amazon. Unfortunately for me, I needed it quick, so I went down to Target and bought it for about twice the price. But it works great. Also, I saw on Costco that they do sell like a 2-pack. So you might look into that too, because maybe you need one on either end of your house or something. Like if you have a bigger house, maybe you put one here, and then you put one on the other side, and now you're getting your backyard better or something. Anyway, so that's my situation. So now, with all that in mind, let's get this set up. So I already have it set up correctly and working. But I'm going to do a factory reset on it so that I can walk you through how to set it up. So there is a little pin on the back, and I don't know if I can show it too easily on here, but in here there is a little factory reset. So typically you're not going to do that, but I am. And so I'll click on that for probably about 5 seconds and reset it. So I'll get the factory defaults, and then now I'll walk you through on how to set it up. It's a pretty easy procedure. Okay, setting it up. So basically plug it in, make sure your lights are on, and it looks like it's working fine. And then you need to connect to it. And so you would go to your Wi-Fi on your computer, and I've already connected to it, but you should see something like EX6100 netgear underscore to EXT. So I've already connected to it. And if it has a different name, you might look through your manual to find out which one it is, because maybe they'll change it over time. Who knows? But you connect to it. But of course, now this is not connected to our network yet. I'm just connected to it. Now it says to go to mywifi.ext.net. Or in some cases, depending on what machine you're on, I did this earlier on a Mac, and a little window popped up. And so I had the tool pop up for me, so it's kind of nice. Otherwise, you would go here. Now, in my case, maybe it's a Windows 7 thing, I get nothing. So whatever fancy-dancy stuff it's doing to get that to working is not working on my box. But I did look up and found a way around it. So what you need to do, if you're in my case, where you can't connect to this, can't bring up the web browser, is you need to get out the Ethernet cable. So plug the Ethernet cable into your box, and then plug it into here. And that should light up. And then now you need to go to a different address. You actually need to put this address in, 192.168.1.250. Oh, 250. And open that up. And that won't work on the Wi-Fi for some reason. You have to actually be plugged in. And when I did this yesterday on my Mac, this is the tool that kind of popped open. And so what it will do is now it's going to start searching my area for Wi-Fi networks to see what it can see. So let it do that. And there it goes. So it found my network. So select your network and then click continue. And then put in the password for your network. And then click continue. And, and then there's a, what is it, AC? Anyway, there's different levels of Wi-Fi. 802.11, there's, B, G, N. Most of my stuff's using N right now. And there's an AC. I don't think I have anything using AC per se. But this supports it. So my router downstairs is only talking N. It's not talking AC. So I see, it looks for these, but I don't have one, so I can't connect to it. So in my case, I need to skip it. If you support it, then of course connect to your router at that level too. But I have to skip it. So now I'll start setting up. Yeah, it's a private network, so I'll just hit continue. And then you have to give it a name. Now, from my understanding, I can give it the same name as my network, which is interesting, but I don't think you want to do that. I mean, like if you go onto a campus or a big office building where they have one network name, in truth, as you pass through, you're passing from a Wi-Fi router to another Wi-Fi router. And it's kind of seamlessly occurring. But they have a really good system set up. Me, I don't have that. If I look at my signal strength from my router, right there, you can see it's pretty high. And I don't know if I don't know. So it might get confused. So being up here, what it will do is it could connect to this one if it had the same name, or it could connect to the other one, depending on which one, its algorithm and how it works. And so that could be a little messy for my situation. Now, for you, that might work. For me, I don't want to do it. So I'm going to give it another name. So I'll just call it, yeah, in fact, they recommend giving it another name too, so you know what you're connected to. Which is fine for my computers, because all the other ones are working fine, except for this guy. And I'll leave that 5G one up, but I wish there was a way to turn it off because I'm not using it. Anyway, so I'll leave all the rest of the stuff the same. I'll leave the passwords the same. So now this is going to be different, but it's going to use the same password. So this one knows the password of my other router, and in it itself, when you connect to it, will use the same password. So I'll hit continue. And now it's going to apply the settings. And as it applies the settings, it should probably boot me off because it's going to change its own name. It no longer will be this EXT6100 thing. It will eventually change its own name. Oh, another thing, if you're doing this, you want to make sure there's a little thing right here. There's an extender or a access point. And you want it to be on extender if you're doing what I'm doing. Dun, dun, dun. And now it tells you how to connect to it. And so I will do that. I'll go down here and connect to my own router name, but I gave it the name _ext at the end. And I will connect. And usually at this point it might pop up and ask you for a password, but I named this the same thing I did an hour ago, so it might remember my password. We'll see. Oh, unable to. Let me just give it a second. Oh, it's connecting. Okay, it just reacted too quickly. Or not. Maybe need another minute to see itself. Okay, so now I should be able to... Okay, there's sensor problem, but they're not. I'm on the network now. And let me confirm that I am... You say I'm connecting, but I'm fine. Okay. From Google, you can do a search for speed test. I just want to confirm that. And Google has a nice little speed test now. So I can actually click here and run the speed test and see how well I'm doing. And in my case, my broadband is only 7 down and about 1 up. So overall, the performance is not bad for my setup. There we go. So we're working. Now I wanted to do a couple of more tests. So we're set up. That should be enough for you. But there's a couple of cool things that this router can do, this extender can do, that I think are neat, but I want to make sure that they actually work like I think they do. Okay, another thing this extender can do, I believe, is that if it's in the extender mode, which is what I'm using, that the Ethernet, that I can plug into the Ethernet. So if I had a computer here that didn't have Wi-Fi at all, this could become my Wi-Fi, you know? So what I'm going to do is I am going to unplug. So I'm not connected to anything now. Okay, that works. So I'm connected to nothing. So now if I run my speed test, I should get nada because I'm not connected. Just making sure. Okay, so I'm not connected. Now, I plugged this into my computer. And so I'll just plug it in. That's all I'm going to do. I got the green light. And I think I should be good. Yep, there we go. Slowly but surely. And if I do I'll run the speed test again. Maybe. Okay, let me cancel that. Let me make sure I have the network. Okay, yeah, I have network access. Just let me rerun the search. Maybe it got confused. Okay, let me run the speed test, and there we go. And we can see over here that I am not connected to any Wi-Fi. It's connecting. Okay, it's not connected. Just want to confirm that I'm not connected to the Wi-Fi. Perfect. Cool. Okay, so that's working. I got one more test I want to do. That's an interesting thing. We'll see if it works. Oh, sorry. Before I go to my last test, I guess it's probably worth mentioning that if you're in the situation where you have something that can't connect to Wi-Fi, you got an old computer, an old router, you got some Blu-ray disc or something like that, or maybe something's just not working right, like in my case, you could just use this. I mean, I could take my smart Blu-ray player and just plug it in. Or maybe if I had an Apple TV and the Wi-Fi in it died for some reason, but otherwise it's fine, I could buy one of these, plug it in, and that should work. So if you had some reason for that, that's another reason to use it in this mode. Okay, the last thing I'm going to try is to turn this into an access point. And so if you see on here, you'll see that little switch, and I can switch it to an access point. And I think what that will do for me, and it may be something interesting that I use in the future, is say you got a cable modem or whatnot that doesn't have Wi-Fi built in. You just have just a pure router. Well, if you had your house wired up, you could run an Ethernet cable to the other side of your house from that router, or even just right next to it, I guess, if you wanted to too. And then make this an access point and just plug it in. And then if I plug it in that way, now this would be connected to the router, and I think this would just become your Wi-Fi. And I guess you could probably do that with a couple too. So if you had a nice house that was wired up, you could connect in your router and then put two of these access points, not extenders, they're access points on either side of your house, plug them into the Wi-Fi, into the Ethernet, and then that would be your Wi-Fi network. So I'm going to go try that. I'm going to actually go downstairs, plug this in, set it all up, give it a different name, leave it downstairs, and see if I can connect to it from up here just fine. So I'm going to give that a shot. Okay, that worked just fine. So I went downstairs and I have it plugged into the wall, and I have the Ethernet plugged into the router, into the Ethernet on my router. So they're not talking to each other via Wi-Fi. So I've made like a new Wi-Fi access point. And because I named it with the _ext, it still has that same name. So it remembered that. And I can connect to it. Hopefully. Yeah, you're actually connecting. You're just lying to me. I think I need a new laptop, in all honesty. It doesn't want to connect to it. Now, on my other laptop, it's connecting just fine. So maybe this one is really just persnickety. Because my Wi-Fi is all the way downstairs now. Maybe my Wi-Fi just really stinks on this laptop. Doesn't want to connect. I blame that completely on this computer. Its Wi-Fi is spotty. I don't know. But it worked. So my other one is connected to it right now. It's actually working just fine, even in the back bedroom. It's just this computer. So if that, ideally, I mean, here's the choice you have. You could make an extender, which is Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi, and then you're extending it. And that works great, just like in this image here. But what would be ideal if you could pull it off is to wire this to this via Ethernet and just make it an access point rather than an extender. Because then the connection between here and here is solid. In truth, the best thing to do is to actually connect everything through Ethernet, because then you have a really solid connection, especially if something's static, like my machine here doesn't move. At some point I'll get that set up, but hey, if you had your house all wired up, you wouldn't need the extender anyway, right? Having the Wi-Fi extender is very convenient. So, hey, easy setup, easy job well done. I need a new laptop, obviously, but the extender has solved my problem, and hopefully it solves a lot of problems out there for you guys, because if you just need more range, you just plug that in and go. And the setup, pretty easy. Can't complain about the setup. Okay, anyway, so that's the end of this video.
Thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a like. To subscribe, just click the subscribe button. Also, you can follow me on Twitter under the handle @whiteboardcoder.com. View any code I may have thrown up as a gist at GitHub under the username PatmanDenver, or check out my blog site at whiteboardcoder.com.